The wallpaper flop that protects everything. A 1950s interior design failure became the leading packaging material worldwide since 1960. This complete transformation of what began as a misguided attempt to revolutionize home decoration into the backbone of global shipping infrastructure demonstrates how spectacular failures can become essential innovations. The story starts in post-war America, where two engineers believed they could change how people decorated their living spaces forever, only to discover that their greatest success would come from their most spectacular failure. Post-war America buzzed with optimism and hunger for innovation as families sought to express their newfound prosperity through bold home design choices. The rigid, standardized styles of wartime had given way to experimental approaches that emphasized creativity and personal expression. Homeowners eagerly embraced new materials and techniques that promised to transform their living spaces into showcases of modern American success. This cultural shift created enormous opportunities for entrepreneurs who could deliver revolutionary design solutions to eager consumers. Alfred Fielding and Mark Chavon recognized this hunger for innovation as the perfect opportunity to establish themselves as pioneers in the home decoration industry. The two engineers had spent years studying plastic manufacturing techniques, believing that synthetic materials represented the future of interior design. They envisioned a world where homeowners could choose from an endless variety of textured plastic wallpapers that would make traditional paper coverings seem outdated and boring. Their ambitious 1957 plan centered on creating textured plastic wallpaper that would completely replace traditional designs throughout American homes. Fielding and Chavon believed that plastic offered advantages that paper could never match, including resistance to moisture, durability against wear, and the potential for three-dimensional textures that would add visual depth to any room. They envisioned manufacturing wallpaper with raised patterns, interesting textures, and innovative designs that would revolutionize how Americans thought about wall decoration. The engineers invested their savings into designing and building a custom machine specifically engineered to produce their revolutionary wall coverings. This specialized equipment represented their complete commitment to disrupting the home decor market through technological innovation. Fielding and Chavon spent months perfecting their manufacturing process, confident that their machine would produce plastic wallpaper that would capture the imagination of interior designers and homeowners across the country. However, their custom-built machine consistently produced plastic sheets filled with unwanted air bubbles, completely ruining their wallpaper dreams. The manufacturing process trapped air between layers of plastic, creating a bubble-filled material that bore no resemblance to the smooth, textured wallpaper they had envisioned. Each production run yielded the same disappointing results, with air pockets making the plastic completely unsuitable for wall application. The bubbles created an uneven surface that would never adhere properly to walls or provide the elegant appearance that wallpaper required. Fielding and Chavon faced the devastating realization that months of planning and investment had produced a manufacturing system that couldn't create their intended product. The air bubbles that ruined their wallpaper represented a fundamental flaw in their production process that seemed impossible to eliminate. Despite numerous adjustments to their machinery and manufacturing techniques, the engineers couldn't prevent air from becoming trapped in their plastic sheets during production. Desperate to salvage their investment, the engineers attempted to market their failed wallpaper anyway, meeting rejection after rejection from interior designers who couldn't understand the appeal of bubble-filled plastic for home decoration. Design professionals examined the unusual material with confusion, unable to envision how air-filled plastic could enhance residential aesthetics. The bubbles made the material impossible to install smoothly against walls, while the texture appeared unprofessional and unappealing compared to traditional wallpaper options. The engineers pivoted to promoting their bubble-filled plastic as greenhouse insulation, believing that the air pockets might provide thermal protection for agricultural applications. This new direction seemed logical, as greenhouses required insulation materials that could maintain temperature while allowing light transmission. Fielding and Chauvin marketed their product to agricultural suppliers, emphasizing the potential energy savings that their innovative insulation could provide to greenhouse operators. However, testing revealed that their bubble-filled plastic provided virtually no thermal protection, making it useless as greenhouse insulation. The air pockets that had ruined their wallpaper dreams proved equally ineffective at preventing heat transfer in agricultural settings. This second failure demonstrated that their accidental creation lacked the properties needed for both decorative and practical applications they had considered. The engineers systematically tested over 400 different applications for their bubble-filled plastic material, each failure bringing them closer to bankruptcy. Fielding and Chauvin refused to accept defeat, methodically exploring every possible use for their unique creation. They tested applications in construction, agriculture, automotive, and dozens of other industries, seeking any market that might value their bubble-filled sheets. The extensive testing process consumed their remaining resources while yielding no profitable applications for their bubble-filled plastic. Each potential market proved unsuitable for their material, as the air bubbles that defined their product provided no useful properties for conventional applications. The engineers watched their savings disappear as they pursued increasingly desperate attempts to find commercial viability for their manufacturing accident. IBM's computer shipping problems in 1960 provided the breakthrough moment when the engineers realized that their accidental air-cushioned material offered perfect protection for delicate electronic equipment during transportation. The computer manufacturer needed packaging solutions that could protect sensitive components from shipping damage while remaining lightweight and cost-effective. Fielding and Chauvin recognized that their bubble-filled plastic provided exactly the cushioning properties that IBM required. The alignment between IBM's shipping needs and their accidental creation transformed the engineers' failed wallpaper experiment into an essential component of the emerging technology industry. Their bubble-filled plastic offered superior protection compared to traditional packaging materials while maintaining the flexibility needed for wrapping irregularly shaped electronic components. This discovery marked the beginning of bubble wrap's dominance in protective packaging applications. A wallpaper designed to beautify homes accidentally became essential to global commerce, proving that the most valuable innovations often emerge from the most spectacular failures. But failed manufacturing experiments weren't the only source of accidental breakthroughs that transformed entire industries. Sometimes the most profound discoveries emerge from moments of pure human emotion in the most unexpected places. The chef's revenge that conquered the world. A moment of kitchen spite in 1853 now drives America's favorite snack, with billions of pounds consumed annually. This massive market represents the complete dominance of a product that emerged from pure culinary revenge, proving that the most successful innovations often spring from the most personal conflicts. The substance that would eventually occupy countless American households began as an act of defiance between a talented chef and an impossibly demanding customer, demonstrating how professional frustration can accidentally reshape entire industries. Moon Lake Lodge stood as the crown jewel of Saratoga Springs dining in the 1850s, attracting the wealthiest and most influential figures in American society. The elegant resort catered to railroad barons, steel magnates, and political leaders who expected perfection in every aspect of their dining experience. The kitchen operated under intense pressure to satisfy guests accustomed to the finest European cuisine, with no tolerance for mediocrity or disappointment. Head chef George Crumb commanded this high-stakes culinary environment with skill and precision that had earned him recognition throughout New York's elite social circles. Crumb brought unique perspectives to his role as chef, drawing from his African-American and Native American heritage to create dishes that satisfied the sophisticated palates of America's upper class. His position represented remarkable achievement during an era when racial barriers limited opportunities for advancement in most professions. Crumb had built his reputation through years of dedication and exceptional culinary talent, earning respect from guests who valued excellence above all social considerations. His success at Moon Lake Lodge demonstrated that exceptional skill could transcend the prejudices of 19th century American society. The fateful evening that would change snack food history forever began like countless others, with wealthy guests arriving for dinner expecting flawless service and exceptional cuisine. Among the diners sat a particularly demanding customer who approached every aspect of his dining experience with uncompromising standards. His expectations for restaurant service reflected the perfectionist mentality that characterized America's business elite during this era of unprecedented industrial growth. The customer ordered French fried potatoes as part of his evening meal, expecting the carefully prepared dish that had become a standard offering at fine establishments throughout America. However, when the server presented his plate, the diner immediately expressed dissatisfaction with the preparation. The potatoes were too thick for his preference, lacking the crispy texture he desired. He sent the dish back to the kitchen with specific instructions for improvement, demonstrating the exacting standards that characterized wealthy patrons of the era. The kitchen staff prepared a second serving of French fried potatoes, adjusting the preparation to address the customer's complaints about thickness and texture. However, this attempt also failed to meet expectations, prompting another rejection and return to the kitchen. The customer's persistence in sending back the same dish multiple times created mounting tension in the kitchen, where staff struggled to understand exactly what would satisfy this particularly demanding diner. Crumb's frustration escalated with each rejected plate as his professional pride faced challenge from a customer who seemed impossible to please. The chef had spent years perfecting his French fried potato preparation, serving the dish successfully to hundreds of satisfied guests. The repeated rejections felt like personal attacks on Crumb's culinary expertise and professional reputation. The situation became particularly galling for a chef of Crumb's background, as he recognized that some customers might be testing his abilities based on racial prejudices rather than legitimate culinary concerns. The pivotal moment arrived when Crumb decided that conventional approaches would never satisfy this impossible customer. Rather than attempting another standard preparation of French fried potatoes, the chef chose to teach the diner a lesson through culinary extremes. Crumb resolved to create potatoes so thin and crispy that they would be impossible to eat with a fork, forcing the demanding customer to confront the absurdity of his repeated complaints. This decision represented both professional defiance and creative problem-solving that would accidentally transform American snacking habits forever. Crumb methodically sliced potatoes into paper-thin sections using the sharpest knife in his kitchen, creating translucent slices that barely maintained structural integrity. The extreme thinness required exceptional knife skills and careful attention to prevent the fragile potato slices from breaking apart during preparation. Each slice needed to be uniform in thickness to ensure consistent cooking, demanding the precision that had made Crumb one of New York's most respected chefs. The preparation process took considerably longer than standard French fried potatoes, but Crumb's determination to prove his point drove him to perfection. The chef then fried these ultra-thin potato slices until they became golden brown and completely crispy, creating a texture unlike anything previously served at Moon Lake Lodge. The extreme heat transformed the paper-thin potatoes into delicate, crunchy sheets that shattered at the slightest touch. Crumb seasoned the finished product with salt, creating what he intended as an inedible joke that would demonstrate the foolishness of the customer's excessive demands. The resulting creation was indeed impossible to eat with a fork, requiring diners to use their fingers for consumption. Crumb presented his spiteful creation to the demanding customer with barely concealed satisfaction, expecting the diner to finally acknowledge the absurdity of his complaints. The chef anticipated that the impossibly thin and crispy potatoes would prove his point about unreasonable customer expectations while potentially embarrassing the difficult patron. Instead, something completely unexpected occurred that would transform Crumb's moment of revenge into a revolutionary breakthrough in American cuisine. The customer not only enjoyed the ultra-thin, crispy potatoes, but enthusiastically demanded more, turning Crumb's intended punishment into an unexpected triumph. The diner praised the innovative preparation, declaring it superior to any potato dish he had previously experienced. Other guests at Moon Lake Lodge observed this enthusiasm and requested their own servings of the unusual creation, sparking immediate demand for Crumb's accidental invention. The creation quickly gained popularity among Moon Lake Lodge's wealthy clientele, who began specifically requesting what became known as Saratoga chips. Crumb's innovative preparation method became the restaurant's signature dish, attracting visitors who traveled specifically to taste the unique potato creation. By 1860, the success of his accidental invention inspired Crumb to open his own restaurant, Crumb's House, where Saratoga chips served as the featured attraction. The evolution from restaurant specialty to mass market phenomenon accelerated through technological innovations, including wax paper packaging and mechanical potato peelers that enabled large-scale production. By 1895, Ohio grocery stores were stocking potato chips, marking their transformation from local novelty to national snack food. These packaging advances allowed manufacturers to preserve freshness while distributing chips across greater distances, creating the foundation for modern snack food distribution networks. A chef's moment of petty revenge accidentally created humanity's most popular snack food, proving that anger channeled creatively can feed the world. But kitchen conflicts weren't the only personal struggles that produced unexpected commercial empires. Sometimes the most desperate attempts to solve private problems. The Morphine Addict's sweet solution. John Pemberton's personal battle with morphine addiction led him down a path that would accidentally create the world's most recognizable beverage. The Civil War veteran and Atlanta pharmacist found himself trapped between chronic pain from battlefield injuries and dangerous dependency on the only relief available to him. His professional knowledge of medicinal compounds gave him unique insight into his predicament, while providing the laboratory skills needed to experiment with alternative pain relief formulations. Post-Civil War Atlanta presented a city rebuilding from devastation while grappling with the human costs of America's bloodiest conflict. Pemberton represented countless veterans struggling to adapt to civilian life while managing injuries that modern medicine barely understood. His morphine dependency was a common tragedy among Civil War survivors, as medical understanding of pain management remained primitive and opiate addiction was poorly recognized. The pharmacist desperately sought alternatives that could break his cycle of dependency without leaving him defenseless against chronic pain. In 1866, Pemberton created his first breakthrough formula, which he named Pemberton's French wine coca. This potent blend combined wine, coca leaf extract, and cola nuts into a medicinal tonic that promised to address multiple health concerns simultaneously. The coca leaf extract provided cocaine, while cola nuts contributed caffeine, creating a powerful stimulant combination that masked pain while elevating mood and energy levels. The wine base made the mixture palatable, while adding its own mild psychoactive effects to the overall formula. Pemberton's French wine coca became locally popular among Atlanta residents who appreciated its energizing effects and perceived health benefits. The tonic found particular favor among professionals and laborers who valued the sustained energy and mental clarity that the cocaine and caffeine combination provided. Pemberton marketed his creation as a cure for various ailments including headaches, fatigue, and nervous disorders, positioning it as a sophisticated European-style health tonic rather than a recreational beverage. The success of Pemberton's original tonic provided him with steady income while seemingly addressing his personal addiction struggles through substitution rather than elimination. However, his business faced a devastating threat in 1886 when Georgia's growing temperance movement successfully banned alcohol sales throughout the state. This prohibition eliminated the wine base that made Pemberton's tonic palatable, while threatening to destroy the business he had built around his medicinal formula. Pemberton faced the urgent necessity of reformulating his successful tonic without alcohol, requiring him to find alternative ingredients that